Welcome again to the session with Emeritus Professor Stephen Adei. I welcome my future millionaires to the Millionaires Club, and also I want to say that there's a way that we Ghanaians and all those who will be listening to me elsewhere must learn to create sustainable wealth. We cannot redistribute poverty. And I want to conclude my session on setting up your business by emphasizing two things: people's skills, and then my 12 inviolable rules if you are going to be a successful SME, small scale entrepreneur, who will grow into a bigger one in future. But let me start with people's skills. Oftentimes, people go into the business with a technical idea. And of course, always there must be some service, some product you are going to sell. But you will not go far if you don't learn how to relate to people, from directors to partners to people who will be just investors in your business, to employees, and above all, customers. People's skills often, not only in business, but almost in every endeavor, is probably the most critical element in success. Business involves the ability to lead and manage yourself, including managing stress, the ability to raise money, often beyond your own money, and therefore you are going to convince other people that they must put their money in your business. But above all, the ability to organize human beings, to combine with technological and financial resources to achieve your results. Simply, you have to be able to bring together factors of production, and of all the factors of production, those who think, breathe, and react are human beings. The ability, therefore, to manage human resources and relate to other people is key to business success. And among all of them, you have to delight your customers. It is said that the customer is king. Oftentimes in our part of the world, because of monopolistic tendencies, people holding, and other reasons, often people appear that the producer is king. But without the customer, there is no business. Let me underscore this. No one, and let me underscore it again, no one succeeds alone. At least, unless you want to be a peasant farmer. And of course, as a friend of mine said, how many peasant farmers live in airport residential area? You will be eating from hand to mouth. The importance of people's skills cannot be underestimated. You have to attract partners as you go along, not necessarily equity partners, but financiers, advisors, technical people. One of the things that has been said by Jim Collins and his team about companies that have lasted for decades, growing from good to great, is that they know how to identify the good people and bring them on board, and also at the same time identify the wrong people, those people that he must get out or off the bus of the business. Oftentimes, motivational speakers talk about, inspiring people, motivating people, empowering people. They may sound like buzzwords, but at the end of the day, what they all amount to is that if you are going to succeed, you must be able to attract people and be able to retain them because they want to be with you, they want to work for you, they want to invest in you, they want to support you. And nobody can go beyond a certain level without leadership and management capacities. That is the essence of what I am saying in technical terms. Other than that, you cannot expand. Let me, as we are talking about people who, of course, you know that you need, if you are, you may need engineers, depending on what you are doing, marketing people, technical people, but let me say that among all of them, nobody is as important as your customer. The customer is king, and you must aim at delighting your customers. Delighting your customers, getting people interested to buy into you and your product is the cornerstone of business success. The customer is king. Without them, you have no business. At the end of the day, in marketing, we used to have the 4 P's, now 7 P's, even some have extended it to 12 P's, whatever you are. But at the end of the day, it is the product being placed at the right place, at the right price, so that the one you are targeting is willing to pick it up. So, please, it's important, even when I am doing this recording, I must be thinking about the people out there. Other than that, I need not be putting out anything. So the customer is king. Let me mention some of the things that go into delighting the customer. 1, you must get to know your customer. What are the things, what needs of them, what are they looking for, and how can you meet their needs in a much more satisfactory way so that they are likely to come again, and not only come again, but likely to recommend you also to other people. You must know their preferences, their desires, and even their idiosyncrasies. For example, if you are dealing with the high-class customers, they will like a certain package. Most likely, they will like you to deliver it at their door. If you are dealing with low-income people, cost become important. The wrappings may not be as important, but their ability to purchase it. You must know whether you are going for exclusive market or mass product, or you must know your customers and their idiosyncrasies. Oftentimes, human beings as we are, most people who are satisfied with your products and your services will come again. They may recommend a few people. But on the other hand, those who are dissatisfied with your product are likely to be your worst enemies. Someone has said that a good satisfied customer may bring up to 6 people, but a dissatisfied one can dispel up to 20 people. So the ratio is quite disproportionate. You must therefore at any time pick up the complaints of your customers, and oftentimes if you are able to deal with it satisfactorily so their issues are resolved, those who have become your enemies become your best promoters. And that is everywhere. I remember, I think I've said it on this series, when I was rector, that would be vice chancellor or president of a university in other jurisdictions. I was just passing by at the school. The school had reopened. And who are my customers? My customers are students. And there was a line, a queue, trying to pay their fees because they had to pay their fees in order to be able to register. And the average person was standing in the queue for about 30 minutes and above. I immediately apologized to them. All those in the queue, I immediately offered them 5% discount on their fees and made sure that chairs were provided for them. And I told my account department, the next time I come and see a queue, they are going to be in trouble. Why? It's a matter of getting other people to help so that instead of one line, you have about 5. And that was the last time I saw a queue. How can people paying me money be standing for 30 minutes to pay me money? It's so important. If that's even true of students who are looking for a degree, how am I the one who is going to buy my product? And the likelihood that there will be other products or other service providers. But in all these things, I believe there is one thing that will help you. If your aim is to delight your customers, in other words, to make them happy, it is one of the cultures that we don't have. You know, you go elsewhere, when you buy things, after they say thank you. In here, even once they see you coming, they are thinking of how they will treat you, especially when you want to buy some products on the road. They look at your car immediately. If your car is Porsche, they double the price. Do you know that we are among the few countries whereby when you go to the market, I'm talking about the food market, Marcola and other things, there is no price on any product. Way back in 1973, when I was a junior fellow of the Economic Commission for Africa of the United Nations, you go to Arat Kilo, the market in the center of Addis Ababa. All the bananas will be hanging there and the prices are on it because they sell it by the kilo. I never actually thought about it. That's maybe the reason why we call the place Arat Kilo. When you go, the meat is all there per kilo. And yet in Ghana, because of our tendency to cheat the customer, we never think of how we are going to make them happy. If anything at all, how to exploit them. If you are going to be successful, even in this milieu, you must aim at delighting your customers. And not only you as the boss, but every employee. Do you hear me? Every employee. You cannot work for me if you are not going to treat my clients with courtesy. Sad to say, you can even go to a hospital, especially a public hospital in Ghana, and the nurse sees you as a border. No. In private business, you must make sure that you don't allow this. Every customer. Let me give you an example. Whenever you go to any organization, the first person you meet will not be the chief executive. If you do, it is be per chance. He may be just bumping out and you met him. Whom are you likely to meet? The first, the security man. The second person may be one who is a cleaner, sweeping the compound. Therefore, they must be trained. When someone comes, there must be some information you give to your security, your cleaner, everyone. Because the first person to be seen by a client must be the one who will initiate the delighting of the customer process. Train your employees to appreciate the importance of customers and to do so not when they feel like, but always. at all times. And if you have the opportunity, maintain continuous communication with your important customers at all times. All this requires a lot of discipline. Going back, the discipline of not rushing with an idea, but thinking through, putting things down as a business plan, and cultivating relationships, being conscious and intentional about pleasing your customers and all. At the end of the day, the disciplines of an entrepreneur cannot be mortgaged or played down. You must discipline yourself financially, the quality of your products, the timeliness. Executive director of a company, I am a board member, has brought something which is so novel. Let me share it because it is not something that must happen only in his company. He has asked every worker to define between 10 and 20 things. When they do, then they have done their work excellently. He didn't impose it all. And then he's using that one to monitor them. And he says, look, you said these are the 20 things or 15 things. So in the month, and he's using a binary method. It's yes or no. Not that, I did this 50%. So one will be, say, coming to work on time. That there's a clock. If you miss one day in the month, it's not that because that makes you a bad worker, but it means, did you come on to work on time every day? Yes or no? So it's 0 or 1. Of course, there's a cutoff. If say 15 and you get 12 out of the 15, you are a good worker. If you get 10, you are an average. If you get below 7, you are warned, and you are 7 3 times, you are sacked. So people are sacking themselves. Let me conclude by, your discipline must be in actual steps you take. And you want to make sure, even in Ghana, there are certain things you don't take for granted. You must obey the laws of the nation and of the sector, because if you fall foul of the law, you can lose your business. You must register your business, whether it is a proprietorship, individual business, partnership, limited liability company, or company guaranteed by limited by guarantee. You must get, people don't know that even when you register a company, you must get a certificate to begin your products, the registration of the business, and starting to produce. And there are other things like fire service, environmental protection agency requirements. Please, these are disciplines, and you do it, and every year you go make sure that you meet the requirements. And then you pay your taxes. Many small entrepreneurs don't want to pay taxes. Sad to say, some of the tax people will come and they will always come after you to pay bribe so that they will let you off. No. People don't know that when you start your small business in Ghana, 5 years, you are not entitled, you are not supposed to pay taxes. And there are many small-scale entrepreneurs who are being robbed because they haven't got their papers correct and everything else. No, you do your thing, and you must understand the law and take advantage of it. Prepare annual accounts. Because, for example, people don't know that taxes, even if they take your tax and you didn't make profit, you can go back for your tax. And it's something that most Ghanaians don't know, that there's tax refund. But of course, you should have prepared your accounts, and consistent. And even you can have deductions if your spouse and children are dependent. You can have allowances. It is part and parcel of the law of Ghana. Make sure you renew your licenses on time, ensure your business is run appropriately. Even small ones, you must, as much as possible, make sure that you have professional advice. Let me conclude with something I used to share with my students, especially when I was professor at Pentecost University in Accra. I call it Quades. That's Quades myself. That's what my students and my friends call me. Quades 12 commandments of doing effective business as an in the SME area in Ghana. And I will just read them quickly within the next 3 or so minutes. I call them commandments because I want them to be obeyed. When you start, just go by it and you have your peace. 1, thou shalt keep records of all inflows and outflows. Never dip your hand in the money for a funeral or anything. 2, all monies, that's receipts and payments, should be through a bank account. In other words, don't just say, oh, can you go and buy this? No, there should be what in business we call a voucher, something that backs it and it's a record permanently. 3, the proprietor or owner shall be on salary and at a level that the business can pay. In other words, you must be separate from your business. For example, even though our school is big now, Ghana Christian International School is limited by guarantee. I work as an executive. I must be paid. The school's money is not my money. If it were a private company and for profit, at the end of the year, then the profit will come to me. But in this case, the profit cannot come to me. You must always separate yourself. Treat yourself as an employee. Number 4, thou shalt not dip into the business finances for funerals, for family members, or for anybody else. It's only when you get the profit and dividends, taxes are paid, and dividends are declared, you can use the money. If you don't, reinvest it. Number 5, don't try to beat the system by not meeting regulatory requirements, including paying taxes if they are due. Because let me tell you, if you evade taxes and you are caught, as a former chairman of GRA, you can be asked to pay 300% the tax you evaded. If possible, that's number 6, join trade or sector association and exploit fully what they have for their members. It helps. 7, exploit synergies and partnerships where it is advantageous, but always keep your eyes open and don't sell yourself cheap. 8, seek advice of experts early. Don't wait until you are in trouble, whether it's ICT, lawyers, mentors. Seek advice early. 9, don't be secretive and afraid that someone may steal your ideas. Let me tell you, few people can do so and succeed. Rather, you are likely to get more help than lose. 10, if for any reason you cannot service your loan for a period, go to your financier to discuss it before you actually miss a repayment, because doing so will earn you some credit. 11, never let setbacks discourage you or celebrate success too early. And finally, you need a lot of hope and trust and faith and perseverance. And that's where I like being a Christian. For they that trust the Lord shall renew their strength. Shalom, and we will meet again next week. I will meet you every week, God willing, on ZFM 99.7. And always, if you miss that one, go to Emeritus Professor Stephen Adei's YouTube Live, and you have opportunity to listen to me again and again. I thank you.